Welcome to the Angular Plus Show, where app developers of all kinds share their insights and experiences. Let's get started.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Angular Plus Show. I am your host today, Jay Bell, and I am joined by my two co-hosts. Who do I want to pick first? Jan, because we got confused for the same person in the last
That's
recording.
true. I
Jan.
absolutely
John.
take this as you picking
When we ship
favorite.
them, it's
so
John.
Yeah. How you doing, John?
definitely too early, and I should have grabbed another cup of coffee before this. I regret
That's why
this.
I've got this one.
I'm
Well,
a little jealous,
bed, so.
but it's probably Keurig, so I'm not that jealous.
It's not a Keurig, it's an espresso.
I forgot you're an espresso guy. That's like,
And
and
was
it's still like 10
rude.
times better, but it's like,
It's still 10 times better. I mean, the
But it's
bar's insanely low. when it
yeah, I
comes
was
to
just saying, like the bar is literally underground.
Keurig. Yeah, that's what it tastes like, too.
I think it's a pipe when it's underground, right?
It needs to be hollow for a pipe, right?
That's true. I bet it's a hollow bar.
Probably.
Well, you can
If it's
probably hear
Keurig,
our
it's
other
probably hollow
co-host.
and plastic.
Right, it's actually PVC.
Ew. Laura, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, I just a forewarning. In the mornings, my door is open and my cats just go in and out of frame, and so
I've seen it a couple
yeah.
times already.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have our guest as well. It's not just the three of us talking about random stuff
No.
the whole episode this time. Thomas, do you want to give yourself a little introduction? Tell everybody who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm Thomas, or Thomas in French, if you prefer. I'm a Angular JD for now a bit of more than 2 years, and I'm working as a software engineer on Angular. So I'm helping team to develop projects on Angular or helping them to be better at Angular. And outside of this, of my work, I'm doing a side project which is called Angular Challenges, and I think we are going to talk about it.
Yes,
in this podcast.
Yes.
that is the goal.
So yeah,
I will
you're
put the
going to
link
know everything about
in
it.
show notes.
So yeah, that's mostly it about me. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Okay. So I always get into what is Angular Challenges? I had never heard of it. I think Laura had too. I know.
This morning we're like,
GDs and
Angular
everything.
challenges. Are we going to talk about why Angular is hard? Because sometimes there are reasons why Angular is hard. But
Yeah,
it's a much
Angular is-
better episode than that.
Angular is hard, but it's getting easier. So, but
It is
Angular
getting
Challenges are here to make it easier for everyone. So what is it? And it's a shame that you never heard of it before, because I'm
No,
tweeting
here's the
about it
sad
for
thing.
about 2 years.
I have heard of it. I just forgot because.
Oh,
That is
I can't say that.
That's about the same.
Well, it's
It might be
like I
worse,
didn't remember
actually.
today because when
I-
we brought it up, we're like, we should invite Tom on. I'm like, oh yeah, that
No,
would be
but-
great because of this, and then I totally forgot that that was what it was because it's been a week.
No,
But anyway,
I forgive you because I haven't spoken about it for about 6 months now, because I'm more maintaining it now than adding new features to it. So, but before, like previous year, I was adding a lot of challenges one after each other. So I was publishing a lot about it. But what is it? It's just like a group of challenges around Angular or NX or library using Angular, like NgRx, 10 stack, or any other libraries. And you just come to the website, pick a challenge, and try to figure out how to solve it. And you can. And the good thing about it is that after that, you publish it on GitHub, and you can get a review from me or anybody else, and then try to improve your Angular doing those challenges. So if you haven't seen, there is Jay posted the link on the chat.
Yeah.
So
It'll be in our show notes for everybody.
and yeah, there will be a show note for everybody listening on podcast. So, but if you never heard of it, it's a good time to start.
I see there's a leaderboard too. I like that. I'm gonna log in.
Are
And
you
Yeah, there's
going
a
to crack all the
like-
60 questions just to be #1 in the leaderboard?
Well, it's not really challenges about to be cracked, like it's very difficult to crack them, but it's more about a learning journey and
Mhm.
how to become from a beginner to an expert in Angular and trying to. The main goal of it is to I was going every time I was I was I had a difficult a problem on the client project. I tried to replicate it on the challenges, make a new one, and so people can solve real issue on real project, not like all the time doing like a to-do list or like the tour of hero of the Angular.
I think replicating actual problems that you encounter in real code is probably the biggest challenge for creating content, because it's like, okay, I made you this very contrived situation where this will literally never happen to you because it's so simple, or you would never actually use this here because it's overkill, but here's how you do this thing. And yeah, it's really hard to come up with good code examples for people to actually have to solve problems. And so I think that's extremely valuable to people, but also it is so hard to find good learning resources for people that aren't just, okay, go through Tour of Heroes or go through the tutorials on the Angular docs, or go to this learning platform and hope that they are up to using modern Angular by now, because most of the major learning platforms still have a mixture of pre-version 16 Angular and post-version 16 Angular, and it's hard for people to learn. So,
but also you can look at all solutions. So it's very good to see what you can do and what you should not do, because I'm trying to to post it as well, and you can get inspired by other solutions. So it's not only your solution, but yeah, it's like a bit like other platform of challenges, but with Angular only. So a bit the same.
yeah.
How do you balance like newer features and older features? Because it's kind of difficult, particularly now with Angular, where you have like realistically a lot of applications in the real world are still using modules, are still not using standalone, are still using structure directives instead of control flow, etc. So where do you draw the line of like, okay, let's teach latest and greatest and the best practices, etc., but also realistically in the real world, people are not just there yet.
Yeah. So the goal of the repository is to show modern Angular. So I'm trying to maintain the challenges so I'm migrating them all the time to the new Angular way of doing things. But I keep some few challenges, for instance, to migrate from ng module to standalone. So how to do that? But I'm not keeping all challenges, so there is no challenges to learn ng module, because this doesn't make any sense. I understand that there is a lot of projects using ng modules, but the goal is to migrate them. So I don't want to teach them how to use the old Angular way, but I want to teach them how to migrate from the old to the new one. So
Yeah.
So
I
when
think
would
that's really
you
important.
when would you remove challenges then? Is it when something gets deprecated in a major that you would go and remove the challenge and then instead add a migration challenge? Or do you just, or is there not really a one point where you go and remove a challenge?
Is modules deprecated?
I guess
No.
modules aren't deprecated. Yeah, that's
Not
true.
deprecated, but
Yeah, so I
But
guess
for
that's not it
instance,
then.
there is a good example about this one. For instance, I had a challenge which was, the goal was to expand the ng4 directive. But now that the ng4 is deprecated and it's quite easy to move to add4, I just deleted the challenge because for me it was kind of useless. And also when the challenge has never been completed, I just delete it because I don't want to maintain it.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep maintaining. No one's ever done this challenge, but somebody
that's-
someday might.
Yeah, that is true.
That makes a lot of sense.
I would be
So,
super quick, super curious if y'all think that expanding or extending structural directives is really a cool use case. Like everyone says, oh yeah, it's so fancy and here's how you do this. But really the only use case I see is for like feature flags. And it's not like this is the only solution for this. So I would be curious if that's just my bias or if you all see this similarly.
We've used structural directives to handle like user-based authentication for certain features.
That's what we do too.
Because it's a lot easier to slap a structural directive on an element than it is to like, I mean, there's other ways you
Yeah.
can handle it, but
I
that's
guess.
probably been the most
We do it for
useful.
Castle. Like can user
Yeah.
read resource
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
often feature flags are the where I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Other than that, it
Mhm.
seems
well,
a little
even
more
for feature
arbitrary.
flag, I'm not using the structural directive now. I'm using @if, and I'm using signals, and just
Yeah.
I prefer it this way. It's easier for beginners to understand. But before that, for instance, the ng4 I just extending, I had a very cool use case to add the empty, but now it's already inside, but you have the ng4 empty. So it was a very cool use case to
Yeah.
teach how to extend ng4 to ng4 empty. But now it's already
And then
it's already-
Angular just came in and stole your thunder. They're like, no,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no, we
good.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, the migration, because I think when you update to, is it version 19 or is it version 20 where it automatically runs the schematic for you and makes you get rid of your structural directives? Like one of the I think it's going to
20.
version 20, but it might be when you go to version 19.
Yeah, because in version 20, the old structural directive are deprecated. So
yeah, it must be when you migrate to version 20, because when you run ng update to version 20, it automatically migrates all of your structural directives for you, which is like, it can be scary, I think, for teams that have been hesitant to do it, but like that migration schematic has been, I think that's probably been the most used schematic at our team because it's been really
it's
very
an easy one.
reliable. Yeah, it's
It's
super
the easy
reliable.
one. Instead, yeah, not for track by, it's not working well for track by, but for the rest,
Sure.
it's
Sure.
very easy to migrate.
Yeah.
So I saw in Angular Challenge you have a section on enums versus unions. What do you have to say in your defense that it not says that enums is utter garbage?
I don't like enums. You should get rid of them.
That is a good answer. I think that should be the very first sentence in that chapter. I'm happy to file a pull request for that.
Yeah, you have a challenge about creating a ESLint rule to delete enums.
That is a great rule.
So
that is a fantastic rule.
It is a hard habit to break, man. Like you have to be ever vigilant. Well, when you've got a whole team that's writing enums for everything, it's hard to get the whole team to stop doing that. So like, it's good to it takes education, especially when your teams are across the world. It's real hard to be like, I know overnight you wrote this code and it works fine, but listen to me. Read this article by Jan and
yeah, that's why if you create an ESLint rule that is forbidding enums, the CI will break.
Yeah. Which is, I don't know if we've gone quite that far, but yeah.
Yeah, but even in my project, I cannot add it because we have so many enums already. It's too difficult to. It's mostly because of the backend, because backend framework use enums a lot. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
So for the learner, what does the process look like for somebody who's joining Angular challenges? How do they get started?
Yes. So one of my other goal was to try to bring the learner to a work environment. So the goal is to go to GitHub. You need to clone the project to your machine. And then it's like if you go inside a new project inside a company, you will have to clone the project and start working on it. So it's the same process. Then you create your own branch. So you need to learn Git as well. But now everyone needs to learn Git if you want to work as a developer. And you create your own branch, you resolve the project, and then you push it to GitHub. And after that, you have a pull request, and you can compare your answer with other people. So it's exactly the same process as you work in a company with other developers in a team.
Yeah, and it looks like
also what I wanted to teach people, it's like if you can do a challenge in my project, you can do any open source project inside any project in GitHub. So because for people, when you are like a very junior or even for senior developers, it feels like a black box to use to do open source. People are very good developers and I cannot do it, but it's very simple. Just do it as you do every day at your work, and you can do it.
And I think that's really great. Honestly, I worked for a company for 4 years and they used Tortoise SVN. I did not know how to use Git. They didn't know how to use SVN. Like I had to figure out how to use SVN. Like I was the one that made branches and stuff and tried to merge branches together. And so it was a mess. And my biggest anxiety joining a real team was using GitHub. Because, you spend all your time, I spent a lot of time on tech social media and, people are like, Git refresh hard. Like, oh no, like merge conflicts, it sounded like the worst thing in the world. And I remember the first time I tried to rebase a branch, I'm like, what is happening? I was so afraid that all of my changes were just getting thrown away. And, it's like just getting that understanding and familiarity with Git can really help people sort of boost their careers, because there is an expectation that you do know Git. Obviously, not every job does, and not every developer is going to have that experience. I know you're looking at me like not every job does, but no, for real, not every job uses it. So there are still people out there, Jan, that take the branch that they want to put into production and just put it on the server.
Those are PHP developers. That doesn't count.
PHP developers.
So, I mean, it's intimidating when and there's a lot of developers out there that they start their careers because somebody at the office said to them, do you think you can help us update the website? And they're like, probably, because that's pretty much how I started. So those systems are usually not very sophisticated and it is hard to move up. So
how do I say this in polite English? But I also think that times changed a little bit since you started.
Okay, they have, but I know people in this exact situation. Like
I'm not saying there's no one, but like proportionally, I think we did a major leap from like, oh yeah, FileZilla and like FTP to deploy is that shit to, well, let's maybe look into something more sophisticated.
Yes. In general, yes, but I just want to acknowledge that there are going to be listeners out there that are like, I don't know how to use GitHub. Does that mean I can't be a software engineer? And it's like, no, but you should probably learn how to use GitHub because it's less difficult than it seems, more difficult than it actually is.
But you should learn Git, not GitHub.
Sorry, yes, Git.
For the people that are listening.
You can get a free GitHub.
No, that is not pedantic. No, that is like saying, oh, learn a browser to develop websites. That is not how this works.
You do have to learn things about the browser to develop websites.
Oh yeah, when did you check out a browser and compile them from scratch?
Oh, no, no. I meant like you just need to learn how your browser works. Like you need to know how to open its dev tools and like what opportunities you have there. But
you don't need to.
You don't have to know the code of it.
You can brute force your way through this. Okay, we completely went off the rails.
Sorry, everybody. The rest of this
back on the rails,
episode is just Jan and I arguing about this. Okay. I love that. And it looks like you've got good directions to kind of do that. And so once they've once they've forked the repo, they've cut their branch, what do they do next?
They try to resolve the challenge. Now they, now they go inside the website. There is everything that is explained. I think there is guide for everything, getting started, resolve a challenge, and trying to. They can also contributing by creating a new challenge, but by starting the very starting point is just to fork the project, like you said, put it on your machine, pick a challenge, anything you like. So I try to categorize them in easy, medium, and hard challenges. So with colors, so you can pick an easy challenge and try to solve it. And then you just push it to an Angular repository. Then you will see your challenge on the GitHub, on the main GitHub repository. And inside this one, I also categorize them with the number of the challenge, and yeah. So and then you can look at other challenges inside this repository. So and yeah, and start from here, and then the hardest part for people who don't know how to use Git. It's that they need to switch branch if they want to resolve a new challenge.
Oh,
Because
sure.
most of the time, I can see people like doing one challenge, pushing it to GitHub, doing another challenge, pushing it to GitHub. So now the PR, it's not 10, 5 change, but
Yeah.
20, and so on and so on.
Yeah. And that can be that, again, in defense of the people who haven't used Git on GitHub. It can be really confusing to try to understand, like, wait, why is everything in here? And then you spend your whole time troubleshooting that. But
so is it more confusing on GitHub than on GitLab then? Or
honestly, I've never used GitLab.
okay, so then it is less confusing apparently.
What? Really?
I don't know.
I'm logged into GitLab in my
I don't
life,
even
I'm like,
know.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Well, that's a UI issue and a little bit of a
That-
skill issue, Jay.
Probably skill issue, realistically. I feel the same way about Bitbucket, so maybe it is.
Oh, Bitbucket is the worst.
Okay.
Literally everything that Atlassian touches is like garbage, garbage, garbage.
That's true. Yeah, that's not incorrect.
Yeah.
I have a serious question. I know it's hard to believe, but I have a serious question. How come that the docs website is not written in Angular for Angular challenges?
Yeah, this is because I wanted to create the docs very fast from start. So I used the Starlight project from Astro, and also I wanted to learn how to use Astro. So
yeah,
because for me it's also a good project to learn. But now I'm trying. I want to duplicate it or to rebuild it from scratch with Angular, because I had a lot of issues with Astro because or from not Astro but from Starlight from Astro, because I'm trying to tweak it too much. So yeah, so the goal would be to migrate it to Angular, but I don't have the time to do it. But I would love to do it.
I think this is a good time to plug Brendan Roberts' work on making Angular work with Astro.
Oh yeah, I forgot he did that.
Yeah. So technically there's a analog plugin to make Astro work with Angular.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know about it. But
yeah. I know Chow uses this for Angular 3 with Starlight.
The Astro plugin? Or the analog Astro?
Yeah, that thing.
Whatever's plugging into what, I don't actually fully understand the whole thing. So.
Something beat.
Yeah, but also one thing I want to do, because I want to migrate it to Angular, it's mostly to make it easier for people to, I don't know, compare solution, and but I don't know how to do it yet. I need to think about it, but
yeah,
maybe one day.
So one thing I'm a little confused by is how's the process from like, okay, once someone opened a pull request for saying I've answered this question, how does this get then transitioned into like the leaderboard and those kind of things?
Oh, it's easy. When you push a when you put a pull request, you
Uh-huh.
just there is like a GitHub action that is looking at your answer. So you will be like a challenge 1, for instance. So you're just putting a label next to it, and then when you click on the leaderboard, I would just pull all the pull requests from GitHub and and process them to know who did what
Interesting.
and
Okay.
show it.
Okay.
So if
That's
you
cool.
want, you can just create pull request, like useless pull request with the number 1, and it would be inside the table.
Okay. That's cool.
Because before that, like 1 year ago, I was reviewing all pull requests, but now it's too much work, so
Yeah.
not doing it anymore.
So what kind of help do you need from the community with this?
So now, if you want, you don't have to resolve all challenges. You can contribute by creating new challenges if you want. People help me by creating new challenges or real life examples. You can also review other people answers, or you can also like just do anything you want with the challenge because it's open source. It's free to everyone. So if you have new ideas, a new direction to go. Because last year I was very focused on it, and I had 2 or 3 people helping me a lot. It was great. But this year I was more maintaining it, so it was less visual on the outside, you can say. But it's still a big work to do because Angular have changed a lot. But yeah, I don't know if people can come and help or can come and solve the problem or do whatever they want. There is no.
I think it's a great opportunity for teams, right? Like, so I get a lot of like middle to early career devs, and it's a good space to be like, hey guys, this week we're going to practice our Angular. Let's all work on this challenge, push it up, and then there's nothing to stop like your own team lead from reviewing your code or from reviewing, like there's nothing to stop you from working with other people to form sort of groups to work on challenges together, from what it sounds like, which I think it really what you've created is sort of this great hub for people to get together just to increase their skills where there's no risk of bringing production down or, like, I don't know, like sometimes jobs will track commits and be like, oh, what are you working on? Like, we're clearly working on training. So, yeah, I think I think
you can also use it as a onboarding or like an interview process because if you want, you can ask
interview, like it's a great thing for interview. Interview challenges are hard because most of the canned ones are terrible. So, especially for Angular. Yeah. Like we used to use one and it was just barely useful at all because the code was so weird anyway that you're like, why would anyone do it that way? But then the problem you were trying to solve wasn't the code that was like written in a strange way. It was some other thing that you were trying to solve. So people would get distracted by how bad the rest of the code was. So that was hard. So yeah, that's a great use for it. Yeah. And also just upskilling your teams. It's hard to give interns like meaningful challenges in Angular without being like, go ahead and write it in our code base. And I hope that it's okay. So
what is your sorry.
No, go for it.
So the way that Angular Challenge is set up, it's a little bit of like choose your own adventure, right? Like, oh, I maybe want to learn about unions versus enums and discard enums for good. But what is your philosophy on like a learning path kind of thing compared to like this choose your own adventure, where it's like more guided, more like, hey, you should maybe go from challenge 1 to challenge 2 to challenge 3 to challenge and so on and so forth.
I understand this because this was a remark I've got. People don't know which one to do when they start from scratch.
Yep.
But my goal was not to do this type of journey because it's already, you can already find it on the internet, like on the Tour of Hero or something like this. You can already like build your own application from scratch and try to learn Angular concept from this one. My goal was more to have like real issue from what I've seen in real code base and try to put them here, and people can come and. But yeah, I can understand it's something I'm trying to figure out how to maybe make it more easy to find what you're looking for, because it's kind of difficult. You are looking for, I don't know, it's not easy to come and say I want to work on I don't know, signals or I don't know some. But
I personally think those are just very two different ways of learning, and none of them is necessarily better or worse. It's just like the guy that the guy that maintains the Redux toolkit for React, he has a great blog post series on like how docs should be structured. And he basically differentiates between tutorial and recipes and has like various categories of like how people approach learning. And I think this kind of applies here in a similar way where like, yeah, people that are already familiar with the base concepts, those more want to learn like about certain scenario, how do I fix this particular thing? How do I tackle this particular thing? Whereas like people that get into Angular and have like no idea what even an enum is are like, okay, why should I start there versus somewhere else? So I think those are just very, completely different user groups. Some of them might not even know GitHub. I've heard of that. Versus
Git.
also, or Git. Jesus. Or Git. And some of them are really just there to like, okay, I heard this Angular thing is cool. I kind of want to look into that. I still think Tour of Heroes is not a good way into Angular. It hasn't been 10 years ago, and it's still not. And no shame or shade on the Angular team. The docs are hard and super hard, but the learning experience has been bad. Got a little better, but it's still bad.
Do they still use, is it still called Tour of Heroes on the new docs site?
I thought so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, isn't it?
I can't remember. Well, okay.
Yeah,
I say I can't
that's
remember as though I ever knew. I don't know.
But yeah, but one thing also, it's not intended to be only for beginners. For instance, I'm trying to add new change every time there is a new features coming to Angular. So for me, it's a good way to learn how to use it. And for others, it's also a very good way to learn how to migrate. For instance, when signals came in, all senior developers didn't know how to use them correctly. Maybe more still don't, because a lot of them are using effect everywhere. So that's a good way to do it. But so, and for instance, in a V21, when the signal forms are coming, I will create a bunch of challenges to start learning them and to start, so it's not only for beginners, it's for everyone. And when you know, well, it's mostly for me, but when you know all the challenges, I'm always coming back to them, because for instance, when I have an issue somewhere, I know that I have a challenge about it, and I can come and see some solution and try to figure it out, how to solve it. So,
and sometimes it's just a matter of having enough of the code set up so that you can actually focus on the problem instead of having like the hardest thing for me about learning some of the new features is trying to figure out the setup around the feature so that I can make it useful. If that makes, it's like the same problem of content creation. Like, I want to make a tutorial, but I don't want it to be just, it can't be so hard that it's difficult to teach, like to teach what I need to teach, but it can't be so easy that it doesn't even make sense to, like, it doesn't make sense. And so even just providing that setup for devs to come in and say, okay, I can really focus on this problem. Like that's such a valuable contribution to the community that I don't think people realize how much effort goes into that content creation. So I just appreciate that you're doing that for us. So
yeah, but I think it's not well presented, because I thought more people will come and try them or even get inspired by them.
Mhm.
to I don't know, because for instance, there is one project I wanted to create about store management.
Mhm.
There is one about it, and the goal I invited many GDs or other Angular developers to solve the issue. So to use the signal store, to use 10 stack query, to use any solution we have, or even the simple service as a state as a service, and to see how we can implement them. If you want to use the signal store, you can come and look at the solution, and you can see how, like, I don't remember it was I don't remember his name. Who created the signal store?
Marco.
Marco.
Who?
Marco.
Marco, yeah. So I invited him to do the challenge, and so it was his solution doing. So yeah. So this is also a good way to try to gather everything at one place and.
Mhm.
What if you have someone look at that, go through the challenges, what would be like your hope for what they're taking out of that? What would be a key takeaway that they should be looking for?
They should be looking for how to write proper, scalable, maintainable Angular code at the end, with all the new modern way of doing. I'm trying to make it as close to what Angular should look like in all projects.
Mhm.
I'm wondering how, because that's partially a thing that bothers me about Angular sometimes, but it's also one of the strengths, is like how opinionated it is. So do you really think there is just that Angular way of doing things?
No, it's not what I meant. It's more like if you want to use the signal store, you can use it. If you want to use only signals and nothing else, you can do it. But for instance, the goal is to show people how to use signals, like not if you want to derive a property, use the computed, and not like using an effect that is setting a new like
Yeah,
how
okay.
to structure your code inside it. But if you want to use your own library, you can do it, of course. It's not that like only one way of doing it, but there is one good way of writing, I don't know, like a shared component. There is, if you want to use a shared component, try to use ng-content or ng template outlet to try to make it as customizable as possible, and not doing 20 inputs to.
You should
Yeah,
use one with an object, right? That's the proper approach. I'm just
Yes.
joking.
That's exactly what you should do.
Or having one input for each CSS
Nothing
property.
could go wrong.
Ooh.
Granularity, guys. Granularity.
Granular. So what I would say about Angular is that when people go wrong with Angular, they tend to do the same wrong thing. Like I've seen some
Yes.
creative solutions, but in general, I can show code where I'm like, look at this code, and people are like, wait, is that my code? Because when Angular goes wrong, it's kind of in that same direction where it's like, oh, I'll just add more inputs. Now I got to handle this. I got to write a method that I call here, and then and I know there's always going to be exceptions, but
isn't that the thing in all programming? No, just
so I've
I'm
seen
not here to pick a fight right now.
No, but I've
like
okay, so the creativity in going wrong in React apps, I've seen a wider, it goes wrong in many more directions. Angular keeps you at least going wrong in the same direction.
I don't
Like
know.
there's certain guardrails
Yeah,
that
okay.
it's real hard to get around. Whereas something like React, it's a little easier to be like, and then I'll simply do this. But
Okay.
I didn't think you could put like a whole bunch of different state management tools into Angular as easily as you can React, but no, you can actually. I've learned
Yeah,
that.
you can.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So, but yeah, I think it's good to have examples out there where because I think people's inclination is write the code they know, which is fair. Like that's this is comfortable. And it's, it's like the enum thing. If you've been using enums and you haven't been really bit by them, it might be hard to understand why you would not use them. So
in general, I agree, but that goes more into like the unknown unknowns kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
Can't
hard to
know
know
what
what
you
you
don't
don't know.
yeah.
And
And
in
so
a way that this applies to all of software development. That's just what
it does.
trying
It
to-
does. It does. It's not uniquely Angular, but I think having a challenge in Angular challenges that's like why we should switch from enums to union types. At least it's
Yeah,
like,
the first
I didn't
sentence
even
should
know
make
there
that
was a
very
problem.
clear.
What's that?
The first sentence in there should make that very clear.
But to come back to, it's very difficult to know what you don't know. I think
Yeah.
I didn't know about it before, but I think you can come to Angular challenges and see all of the sections, and you can look at, oh, there is you can do it this way, oh, you can do it this way. So I think it can be a good way
Mhm.
to I don't know, to find what you don't know.
It also
Yeah.
challenge your bias in a way.
Mhm.
Not that anyone is biased here about enums. No one is. We're all
Literally
just
not
No
very
a
one
single
is-
one of
objective.
us.
No one has
Oh.
ever gone on a tear about that. So
It's a very objective tier, though. I like that a lot because it challenges your own way of thinking. It also puts you into, with having the solutions out there, it puts your approach into perspective and comparing that. That's often a thing that I'm lacking in like blog posts there, where it's like, okay, you do this thing, you do that thing, and it's like always like the most logical next step, so that you're always just like, yeah, this is exactly how I would do it, and then you're writing it yourself, and it's like completely not how you would do it.
but what
So
about this?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think this approach is really interesting, again, for like people that already wrote a little bit of Angular, like familiar with some of its quirks and edge cases, but really to like foster a healthy learning experience into a direction that is productive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's also a great way to like, okay, so when you're working at work, when do you have more than one dev pick up the exact same ticket and compare what they did? Like you literally don't.
Never.
That's what you don't do at work. But this
The
is a great
closest you get is-
opportunity to say like, hey, here's the same problem. I want all of us to solve the same problem, and I want to see how we solve it the same and how we solve it differently. Because honestly, like I love getting new developers on our team because they'll bring in new patterns with them. Sometimes I don't like the pattern, or like it's not going to work for us. Sometimes I'm biased against the pattern. But sometimes you're like so this is the funny thing I've learned using like AI. I don't have to use reduce for everything. Reduce isn't the answer. Sometimes you just want a for loop. It took me a really long time to get there because reduce seemed fancy.
It is fancy.
It is fancy, but sometimes it's not the right tool for the job. And sometimes you have to go for a less fancy tool like a for loop. So, and just that sometimes you learn that when you let other people write code, like solve problems, the same problem over and over again. So I think it's a good
Fair.
opportunity. So what I'm
Why
saying,
would you not
listeners,
use
is
reduce?
take your team. Why would you not use reduce?
When would you not use reduce?
So
Because I usually rather make the opposite rule of never use reduce, because it's mostly too complicated for people to comprehend.
a lot of times if you're trying I have run into issues where I would have to run reduce a couple of times to get what I need, whereas if I run the for loop, I can get it. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain, but like
The early exit behavior.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that makes sense.
yeah. So
Okay, interesting.
yeah. But I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't let like Copilot write that for me and be like, why are you using this? And I was like, oh wait, I get it. So yeah. Sometimes you have to listen to what other people or machines write.
Or what
Nah,
Angular
fuck that.
challenges says.
Yeah.
All right. So what have you learned writing Angular challenges?
Oof, that's a difficult question.
Like
But
if
every
when you
time,
had the idea, if you looking, would you go back and tell you who had the idea, yeah, go ahead and do it? Have you gotten enough out of it for yourself that it's been worth doing, or is there something you would do different?
no, no, most of the time, when I was, but when I started doing it, it was mostly to try to answer an issue that I had, that not finding any challenges or any I don't know, like problem I wanted to try to solve when I was learning Angular. But at the beginning of the story, it was mostly because when I arrived in Twitter, for instance, when it was always it was existing, I was asking around about solutions, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of people answering my solution. Like for instance, Shaw, who was like spending 30 minutes to on a call, and he didn't know me, and he was answering my problems. I was like, oh, who are these people? These people. So I was trying to give back to the community what I had learned before by these people like this helping me.
Mhm.
And then after a couple of challenges, it was mostly, for instance, for testing the testing part, I wanted to learn Cypress component testing. So I created a bunch of challenges around this, or testing library. And every time I met, like for instance, a view transition, I couldn't do it at work because it was not the right time to do it. So I'm creating a small challenge and I'm playing around. And instead of just playing around with a small challenge that I put on my shelf or on the trash, in the trash, I'm creating a challenge. So yeah,
Nice.
every time I'm trying to resolve or solve an issue, I'm just creating a challenge. So it
That
helps
makes
me
sense.
and helps people. I hope. I hope.
Oh,
Same
I think
similar for
absolutely.
in the future.
Like so
Similar
Brian
for
at one point Brian had a learn in public type thing, and this very much is
yeah.
that sort of thing where it's like this is, hey, this is what I'm learning right now. And I have run into the problem where like I want to try something new at work, but it's hard to tell if it's not working because I'm not writing the code right, or if it's not working because it's not working in my repo. You know, like, is there something about my code base at work that's making this not work, or is it because I'm literally not doing it right? So at least if you can extract it out into something where you're like, no, this should work, you can at least know like, okay, I'm doing this right. And then if it's not working at work, there's something about your setup that's not working. Um, so
Yeah,
I think it's a great way to sort of isolate out those problems for people too, and give you like a place to sanity check to be like, is it me or
yeah,
is it the code
it was
base?
also yeah, it was also the case when I was in a client and I had to train a junior who came and he was struggling with RxJS. That's weird because it's very easy. Uh, so I had to make it
Notoriously.
a small project so we can play with RxJS operators and try to figure out what each operators was doing. So I put it inside my challenges as I don't know, like I don't remember which one, but it was a good way of just try this challenge and try to play with it. So every time I had the chance, but yeah, like you
Yeah,
said,
absolutely.
it's not easy, and most of the people, like for instance. He didn't have the courage or the I don't know to do it on his own, like opening a new IDE, a new project,
Hmm.
NGU, and then creating because Starbucks was not existing at this point, and creating a
Hmm.
new standalone project and playing with operators. So
Yeah, that can be I mean, even with, I mean, I guess maybe I don't know. I don't even know if like AI makes it a lot easier if you're trying to like, hey, I want to learn how to do this, set up a project for me that can do this for me. Like,
for
how do
me,
you
AI is
know if
not easy when you're starting
hmm.
because AI when you don't know what you're doing, AI is not
Yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's yeah, you don't know if what it's giving you is actually valid or if what it's giving you is garbage to start with, and then you're like, "Oh, it doesn't work because again, the code around it doesn't work as opposed to what you're doing. So yeah, because yeah, RxJS is definitely one of those things that you either love it or you hate it. I don't think there's a lot of middle ground, like from what I can tell. What was it, like 50% of Angular developers hate it and 50% love it? Like it was some crazy number like that. So
I think it's probably more shifted that people hate it.
yeah. I mean, I loved it because it was like fancy again. Like once you figured it out, it was like, ooh, I figured a thing out and now I'm fancy. I can use reduce, everybody. Check it out.
RxJS, reduce, they're on the same level of complexity, right?
They're basically the same thing. I mean, yeah. But yeah, I think that's a great reason to do that. Yeah, this feels underutilized. I feel like everybody should be using this more, honestly. And in fact, I'm adding this to my list of what I have our interns go through when they come in, because I haven't been happy with a lot of the resources that we have, the certain like different courses, because then they come in and you're like, okay, unlearn that thing they just taught you because we don't do it that way.
Isn't there like a good LinkedIn learning course?
Just on Signals. No, there are. So the LinkedIn Learning, honestly, they have just started to update. Like most of their Angular track was really old, and so I think they've had a couple of them. Like I think they've updated the base entry level courses, and then I have a Signals course. I think it's out now, but I'm not sure. It's got to be out soon. But it's just hard to keep up with that content. Like I'm refreshing courses that I wrote for Pluralsight that I wrote like a year ago because things change. And so it's hard to keep a whole course updated. I'm not going to say it's easier to keep a challenge updated, but it does feel like a little less. You don't have to like re-record your audio, which to me is the biggest.
You don't have to re-record your audio, but you have to undo all your solution and create new ones, which is a bit annoying.
Yes, which is still like I said, I don't want to discount the amount of effort that goes into it, but I think you can move slightly faster with like the smaller the container is, like the faster you can move. So when you're talking like an hour and a half to a 2 hour long course, of course it's going to take longer to get it updated.
Yes,
and then also then you're dealing with companies that, and then you're dealing with companies that are like, well, we don't want to pay to update that yet. So
yeah, and I want to update that. How about that?
Exactly. But yeah.
Thomas, I have I think one more question, and then we should slowly wrap things up.
Yeah.
If you would have unlimited resources, I know unrealistic, not a thing in the world except if you work for Microsoft, but I assume you have unlimited resources to do whatever your heart desires for Angular Challenge. What would be your first thing? Be like, okay, this is what I should throw money at. Money/time.
What do you mean? Only for Angular challenges?
Well, yes. Basically, what I'm asking is, okay, if you would have all the time to work on it that you wish you had, what would be the first thing you would like to address with Angular challenges?
Oh, the first thing, and what I'm trying to do right now, is to migrate everything to redo the documentation page to make it easier to browse around the challenges, and also to compare the solutions and to make it so I'm a bit, I don't know if I should go this way or not, but to make it easier to solve challenges, like for instance, maybe using Starkbase inside the browser, so you can solve it inside your browser, not forking the project and doing it on your machine. But yeah, if I had only time for Angular challenges, is what I was going to do. Migrate everything, maybe have a better search. So if you're looking for a specific topic, yeah, search is very difficult. So if you're looking for a specific topic, I want to make it easier.
So on
Nice.
the other note, in that sense, if there's anyone out there feeling super passionate about it and you feel like you want to help Thomas with this endeavor, there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
And that would be contributing challenges, but also reviewing challenges for people. And just
making
frankly,
improvements to the doc site.
yeah, or frankly, just using it, like getting
Mhm.
in, trying out the challenge, you know, encouraging, like challenge somebody in the community. We'll have, I mean, it's not December yet, but according to how time goes lately, it's going to be December in like a week. And we do the Advent of Code. Like this would be a great Advent of Code type challenge where, you
Mm.
Yeah, I've
challenge
created
the,
one for the end of code 2 years ago. There is
Mhm.
one, I don't remember the name of it, but there is one where you need to, oh, I think it's view transition.
That came
Uh,
out 2 years ago?
I don't know, yeah,
Holy.
it was 2 years ago, but I had to, yeah, I don't remember which one is it, but I created
Oh, yeah,
one.
could be. Could be.
Yeah, the last year I didn't have the time to create one, a
Yeah.
specific one.
And that's the thing. It's like you get busy at work or you just like life stuff happens. Like last year I moved. Jan and Jennifer had a baby. Like
That was
uh
last year? Jesus.
that was last year. Like Jay's like the CTO at his company, and I'm sure sometimes they need your attention, right, Jay?
Every so often.
Every so
Only
Do you know
sometimes.
often.
Kubernetes by now, Jay?
Do I know any what?
Kubernetes by now?
No.
What do you pay a CTO money for? Isn't it like
You're
an
assuming I get
entry-level
paid CTO
requirement
money.
for a CTO?
He gets paid in letters, which is in his title.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Here's
on
another
comp
letter.
package.
Now you're a CTFO.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, just what I want. I want the F in there for sure. Oh man. Anyway,
Yeah.
on that note, thank you, Thomas, for coming on the show. It was really cool to learn about Angular challenges. I'm glad I know about it now, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be
You already
sending that
knew
to
about
people.
it. You were just like
I-
challenging the perception.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was
Yes.
doing. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely didn't forget about it like Laura did.
Hey, to be fair, I moved last year.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know we were
Uh,
coming up with excuses, but that's fine.
I'm an excuse machine today. No, but and also like I guess like as a senior, you forget that like there are these tools out there for you to use. Like this would have been a great place to go practice doing like some of the new signals implementation instead of
Yeah.
having to, cut a branch on my repo and try not, or for example, if your repository isn't up to the version that it needs to be, like what is it? With feature is a newer release from Signal Store, and so in order to use that, I have to bump the version on my repo, which we're not quite ready to do. So, what do you do there? Like, how do I say we absolutely have to use this if I've never tried it? And so if you have places like, if you have little small challenges like this where you can say, okay, I tried out this signal feature, I think it's going to work for us. That's a better ammunition to then say, now I can bump that version. It makes a good excuse to bump the version in your
Yeah,
actual
definitely.
repository.
I'm trying to be up to date as soon as possible, or as fast as possible. So
Yeah, and that's a
maybe the
job in
new
itself because they're all just like between, and then NX is like, we're not even just gonna do like 6-month releases. We're gonna do like whenever we want, and it's gonna be real fast. So, like the fact that you're already, like you're fairly current on that as well, and so like that's impressive because it takes a lot of effort to maintain that. So, but yeah, but the nice thing then
Thank
is
you.
that as a developer, you can go in and test it out in these challenges and not have to set up a whole thing just to see if it works. And then it gives you ammunition to take back to your team to say, we need to update and here's why, and this is how it works. So, yeah, I think this is a great resource for the community. I really appreciate that you've taken the time to do this. I mean, you've gotten something out of it at least, but I think what the community gets out of it is even more. And I think it's something that we could
Yeah,
all.
and if you just want to come and help and create new challenges because you have new ideas, just
Mhm.
come and I will be glad to help you create your challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you run into something weird at work that you're like, gosh, I can't find any documentation about this, like it's a great place to document it.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, well, cool. How can
Definitely.
people
Yeah.
reach out to you if they want to communicate with you?
You can reach out to me on X or on LinkedIn, or I don't know, on GitHub. You can reach out to me on the GitHub page of Angular Challenges. There is like mostly on X. It's
Nice, awesome. Well,
All
thank you
those
so
links will
much
be in the
for
show notes.
definitely. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here today.
Thank you for
We
inviting me.
absolutely. I'm very excited to be able to promote what you're working on because like I said, I think it's a great resource for all level of Angular developers. So, so definitely, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Challenge your team to a
Yeah, and
challenge.
for the next version, V21, you can come and play with the new signals forms. The goal will be
Yes,
to put a bunch of challenges there, so you can convince your boss to redo your whole application with signal forms.
exactly. Because everyone loves forms.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Awesome.
joining
Well,
us today. I'll let you wrap up, Jay. I'm doing the mom thing again.
well, no, it's all good. You can take over whenever you want, Laura.
Time to
You're
leave,
the one that was-
everybody. Get in the van.
Time to- Thanks so much for coming on today, Thomas. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Laura, for co-hosting. I appreciate it. Thank you for the listener for coming today. Hopefully you learned something, learned about Angular challenges if you didn't know about it like I did. Go check it out. Go contribute to it. Go learn some new things. And we will see you next time for whatever our next episode and guest is.
For an episode. This is when we're like, for an episode of the Angular Plus show.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.